Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomat YouTube channel. You got your boys here, Lanny and Bert, the Dividend Diplomats. We're going to talk to you about SCHD, the massive week that SCHD had, and why it is setting itself up for one fantastic 2025.
Smash that subscribe button. Give us a nice thumbs up. SCHD, a lot going on with it. I'm sure we're the 1,000th video on YouTube. Sure. But you'll get the diplomat's spin on it because, Bird buys 1 billion shares every week of SCHD. What is it, 18 shares?
18 or 19. It just depends on what I'm feeling like that morning. So we'll see.
Depends on what itch Bert wants to scratch. But Bert,
yeah,
the big news has hit SCHD here to finish off the month of March. What are some of those big news headlines?
So let's start with two of them, the two that we're going to go into. First, a massive Q1 dividend increase. Yep. Second, how could we not talk about the big annual reconstitution, that big annual reshuffling where they take the snow globe, they shake it, they get some people in Royal Rumble, they let the stocks just kick each other out, and they say, all right, who's going on to the
who's next?
Portfolio? Yes. So dividend increase. Lanny, I was very nervous going into the SCHD dividend increase this year because VYM set such a high bar for their dividend increase this year. That Q1 dividend increase for VYM was 24%. So I was hopeful that
29%.
Oh, it's 29%. I thought it was 24. Okay, 29%. Apologies. That further exasperates my point here. VYM, you hope that SCHD would be able to respond. You hope that SCHD would be able to deliver. You hope that SCHD would at least be able to come close to matching it, but you never really knew because SCHD had stronger growth in 24. Well, Lanny, what was SCHD's dividend growth in Q1?
Not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, but 22% Q1 25, Q1 24 dividend increase, guys. A 22% raise for the ETF shareholders, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sure, it didn't match VYM, but it followed suit with a strong ETF dividend increase. So that was fantastic. That was beautiful. And that got the week off on a nice foot. But then obviously they had that annual reconstitution.
22 beers for Bert.
Yeah. I haven't had any beers this week. 2025 has actually had less beers for me. You haven't seen them in any of these videos. It's just been
I probably have had maybe 2 beers all of this year.
Yeah, it's just been a lighter drinking year. I got this high quality H2O sitting here in this bottle. Anyway, okay. Reconstitution. Let's start with what Yeah, I'm not going into the details here. Every year, SCHD rebalances portfolio. They have criteria that they go into. They look at dividend increases. They look at cash flow. They look at different kinds of metrics. Then they'll talk about how you can't have any one stock or one sector meet certain weighting criteria. That's the gist of it. Every year, they look at it. They rebalance. They kick some stocks out. They bring some new stocks in. Starting with the talking points here. Overall, before we get into the details, here is what happened at a high level for SCHD landing. The yield is reported around 3.8%, 3.83%, which is a slight decrease. They dropped down the dividend yield by about 7 to 10 basis points, depending on what news source you pull it from. But you saw an increase in that 5-year dividend growth rate. The weighted average portfolio dividend growth rate, not what the fund's paying out, within the portfolio, increased from 7.52 to 7.85%.
You made it up on the growth.
Yeah, and when we talked about the 5 key questions that we had for SCHD in that video several weeks ago, that was one of the things we were going to talk about. What are they going to do with dividend growth? Are they going to be able to keep up the 2024 dividend growth? One step towards keeping up strong dividend growth in 25, Lanny, is rebalancing your portfolio.
Stronger dividend growth players.
Exactly. So from a high level, they gave up a little bit on the yield, but picked up a lot on the dividend growth, which is perfect for us. Overall, we love those high level impacts.
Nice. Now, Bert, again, they've got they got better free cash flow to debt ratio. That improved. So they're getting higher quality, better cash flowing stocks within the portfolio, paying out about the same amount of yield, but getting much better dividend growth. But Bert, there's a lot of sector reallocation, a lot of industry change up.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll go into the individual stock movements here in a little bit. So what sectors won and what sectors lost for SCHD? The top increase sector, Lanny, energy, energy,
Energy.
energy, and energy. You saw a 9% increase in the allocation. That's now the highest allocated sector here for SCHD. Their new allocation was 20.94% at the time of the rebalancing, up from 12.29%. Second largest was consumer staples at 3.72% of an increase. Their allocation is 18.72%, up from 15%. The largest decreases, Lanny, they followed Mr. Buffett's suit. They cut out financials. They sold a lot of their financial holdings, which you'll get to. That sector allocation dropped 9%. And there was a slight decrease in healthcare, dropping 2%. So those are your big changes. Financials went from 17% to 8% on the allocation front. That's a massive fall off.
Real estate had a huge shakeup, though.
Yeah, they're from 0% to 0%. I always think it's funny. That is the one thing that SCHD does not put in there. They do not put REITs into SCHD. I think that's fascinating.
Hey, utilities stayed pretty much the same. Tech stayed pretty much the same. So you're getting a lot of consistent allocation as well. But hey, during bad times, people flock to energy
Mm-hmm.
and to those high value consumer staple stocks. So
Can
very
you,
similar suit.
yeah, can you think of a channel here on YouTube, Landing, that's been talking about energy stocks that have been trading at a discount as well, where you can start seeing some value within there? Us maybe? Yeah,
No, I
that's
don't know how many times I showcase Shell, Chevron, and Exxon throughout the last 6 months.
yeah. So that's the interesting thing. They moved into those sectors along with the consumer staples. Let's talk additions, lady. Let's talk the new tickers that came in. There are 20 new holdings in here. Again, they add money to certain holdings that are consistent. We'll see what the new top 10 is. These are stocks that were not in SCHD a week ago that are now in SCHD. Lanny, who are some of the big names for SCHD and how much are they weighted in the
That's funny. Obviously, when we're talking about energy, ConocoPhillips out of all energy stocks, COPS ticker symbol, 4.6% weight with a 3.15% dividend yield. So obviously, adding that plus Schlumberger at number 3 with the 2.3% allocation. So Bert, hopefully you got a nice little pop to that stock recently. It was pretty impressive seeing 6.9% of their portfolio allocated to 2 energy stocks. But
Mhm.
man, Bert, really for me, it's stocks 4 through 6.
Yeah. Target, General Mills, and Archer Daniels Midland. Two of those three stocks have been featured this week on our channel as stocks that we're saying are undervalued. Here, General Mills, we talked about several weeks ago. So, again, a common theme here of what are you seeing in the dividend growth community, in the dividend ETF community? Where's some value? Where are some great companies? That's where the discounts are. Obviously, we're not going to read every single one of them. We'll put the full chart up here, but some great companies within. Everything else was pretty small within new additions.
Obviously, those stocks didn't pop.
Yeah, they did not. Deletions. Let's move along to deletions, Lanny, because this is where I think it's fascinating. 17 stocks got the Hogan boot out of here. The Shawn Michaels sweet chin music, that Stone Cold Stunner, the Rock Bottom, the Cody
Yeah,
Cutter.
the Triple H pedigree, the Tombstone, the Choke Slam, the Last Ride, the STFU.
Yeah, they're all getting out of here. Well, we called one of the sectors, Lanny. We called one of the sectors, but I don't think we picked the right stock within the sector. We said there were going to be some shakeups in farm, but we
Yeah,
did not.
they dumped Pfizer, man. They dumped
Yeah.
Pfizer, which was a 4.3% weight. They said sayonara to Pfizer. They added Merck, which we didn't comment on, but yeah, they got rid of the high yield pharma stock in Pfizer. And Bert, they kicked out Cleveland Bank, number 7,
Yeah.
Key Corp.
Key Corp, ticker symbol Key, but that wasn't even that was the fifth largest financial holding they booted out. They cut out BlackRock, US Bank, M&T, Huntington, another Ohio bank, Key Corp. They weren't done with the financials either. These are just smaller weighting at the bottom. Zion, Synovus, Bank of Hawaii. Oh, and that financial sector Heritage Financial. They kicked out a ton of them here, Lanny. And they kicked out one of our favorite duds, Leggett and Plot too. So a lot of stocks didn't make the cut anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Key, no dividend growth.
Yep.
Leggett, no dividend growth. There's a hell of a lot of stocks here. Dick surprised me a little bit because they've
Yeah.
had some strong dividend growth, but a lot of dividend growth is not in these stocks. So,
Yeah.
Pfizer, very low dividend growth. So that probably didn't fit. These stocks probably weren't fitting the bills.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's why you have the formula, Lanny. Take the emotion out of it. You run the numbers, you run the formulas, you kick out who doesn't make the equation, and you move out who does. I mean, and you bring in who does. So again, those were some of the major holdings.
Yeah, so
Remember,
the top four over 1%, again, Pfizer, BlackRock, US Bank, and M&T,
yeah,
representing somewhere around 10 to 12% of the portfolio.
yeah. So now let's go through what their new top 10 holdings are, because that's what everybody here wants to see. Remember, they could invest some money within stocks that were already in their portfolio. So allocations are going to change within holdings. Just because something gets booted and something gets added, that's not the only time they put money within. Stock allocations can change within. Now with their new top 10 holding, Lanny, obviously ConocoPhillips at 4.6% was number one. Number two, Chevron, ticker symbol CVX. So number one and number two are major oil companies here.
Yeah, 9% of the portfolio.
Yeah, moving down the list, Verizon's 3 at 4%, Bristol Myers Squibb 3.94%, Coca-Cola number 5 spot at 3.91%, Amgen, Cisco, AbbVie, Altria, and Pepsi round out the top 10 for there, making up 40%.
Just solid. Just
Yeah.
a lot of energy, a lot of pharmaceutical with Bristol, Amgen, and AbbVie, but I mean, you've got a pretty fun, decent yield, decent growth rate from the top 10 and make up 40% of the portfolio here.
Yeah. So again, to
Are
summarize,
you happy?
yeah, that's true. How can we forget about AbbVie? Yeah, how could
I'm
anyone?
thrilled.
Yeah, ecstatic. Everyone there, even with getting plats on the outside, like, darn, we could have really used that pop. That was the one stock that could have used the they could have used the primetime show. Overall, to summarize what went down with SCHD here, again, yield stayed about the same. They're saying the yield is like 3.8%. Dividend growth, you saw a 30 basis point pickup. You saw investments into energy, into consumer staples, decreasing, moving out of financials, out of healthcare, and overall, oil takes the cake with their top two holdings, but there's still a lot of great pharmaceutical, consumer staple, legendary dividend kings with Coke and Pepsi in that top 10.
So, Bert, are you changing your buying SCHD approach at all?
No, I'm going to keep investing. I'm going to keep going through it. I like this one a lot. I think this is a strong rebalance for the year. Again, it's a lot of the places where we're finding value right now too. So SCHD matches what I'm seeing from a dividend perspective. Of course, everything can change, everything can shake the snow globe, but that top 10 features a lot of great high quality dividend stocks. And I love that they picked up a little bit on the dividend growth front. That's what I wanted to see entering into this. And we are leaving with a successful check. They position themselves closer into a better position for dividend growth.
And Bert, are you buying it in your taxable account?
Yes. Yep. All taxable. So we'll keep going. We're going to keep buying those 20 shares of SCHD every single week, or 18 to 19 or 20. I don't even know anymore. I'm just picking a number at this point.
Guys, let us know what you think about the SCHD shakeup. Are you happy? Are you sad to see a few stocks go? Let us know in those comments. Are you pumped as all hell for that 22% distribution raise? Guys, holler at your boys in the comments.
If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. And remember, you're either with us or you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert the Hurt and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.